State of Mississippi, Carol Emlich Bates, Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce, and I know it was an outstanding meeting. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But you know, we've got a third week of October Business of the Week. That's right, third week.
We do, and it is the Green Guys. And the Green Guys.
What a name, the Green Guys.
I love it. You know, when they first joined the chamber, it's been 2 years ago, I believe now. They were just coming into town and getting started on their landscaping business, and they're doing a great job. There's Mike Landers, and David DeWeese is the owner, and so is Benji Terrell, and they're on either side of Mike there. And then Scott Harris, excuse me, is one of their guys, and they were just all excited about getting this award. But they've done a lot of, you know, there's a lot of landscaping, a lot of commercial jobs that they've been doing around town. They do a really good job, and as a matter of fact, Mike was kind of bending their ear about maybe doing some upgrades for him, I think. So, but they're a wonderful bunch of guys, and they do a tremendous job of really evaluating what you need. Yeah. So I'm glad that they were our business for the week.
All right, we had a great banquet, and you know, look out over that group, and you see all these members. And you know, the reinvesting members make it all happen because we're dependent on them.
And they were there. They were there. Action Environmental is our reinvesting member for this week, and Dr. Rick Redmond, of course, Family Dentistry, and the Sylacauga Utilities Board. So it's
jam-packed banquet, wasn't it?
It was, and Walt Maddox made a point of saying that during his speech, but also afterward. He took me aside and he said, I don't know what, you know, how you do this.
Something in the water.
Yeah, he said, but I've really, you know, in Tuscaloosa or just about anywhere he's been speaking or been with other chambers in recent months, he'd never seen one with quite that many people there. The music was wonderful. The food was outstanding.
The 64s, wasn't it?
Yes, they were great.
I love that.
They truly were great.
You know, it takes a lot of boots on the ground to make something like this happen too.
You know what? You know, between the good committee that I have, but I think what impressed me most this year were the freelancers and the FBLA kids and my chamber ambassadors, and they just, I think it was I say my ambassadors because they're all these kids and I love them to death, but they did a wonderful job of taking people to their seats and making sure they needed tea or whatever. And afterward, I mean, when we said it's time to clean up, and all we had to do is bust the tables. There's a funny story about that. I kept saying, now kids, all you have to do is bust these tables and then we'll be done. And they kept looking at me. And finally, I realized they had no idea what bust tables was. Yeah. So I had to explain that. But once I did, they were on it and out of there, and it was a wonderful evening. Yeah. And Jim Armstrong and his bunch, you know, and my committee and Carla and my officers, it just, It's really, it was
makes you kind of proud, doesn't it?
It did. It really did.
You guys on the road today, Leadership Sylacauga.
Leadership Sylacauga. This is our industry month, and we're going to get on the big bus, and we're going to go out, I think, around the industrial park here with, I think Calvin Miller's going to be with us, and so is Miss Thornton, Deborah Thornton, and we'll go out through there, and then we'll have a box lunch so we can keep moving, and we're going to Honda. And that Honda tour, we didn't get to do it last year. The Honda tour is wonderful because, I mean,
it's another city, isn't it?
And it's so clean. And we told everybody, you have to wear, you know, women, not, you know, men, you don't wear many open-toed shoes. But, you know, the women have to wear closed-toed shoes, and you have to wear slacks, and you can't, you know. But I love watching a class that's never been out there before. Because it's
They're
immaculate.
All, aren't they?
Yeah, it's immaculate. It's everything is right down to the, you know, the way they bring the parts in and move them around the trucks. It's in the cars, and it's great.
You know, time flies when you're having fun. But the holiday open house is just days away.
It is. I said I made a list. I made a checklist when I was in Mississippi this week about what I had to do when I got back and get everything set for that, because the merchants certainly are set. And when I was walking around downtown Greenwood, which is a quaint, wonderful little town, all their little gift shops comparable to Magnolia's, and they have a bookstore. Everybody was, you'd walk in and they would say, oh, please pardon the mess, because they had Christmas stuff everywhere. So it's the same thing that's going on here is going on there too. But our holiday open house, I think, is going to be especially good this year because the merchants are all getting behind it, and we're going to put that holiday drawing together again. So we'll have some prizes for folks. So I'll get the details of that and have it for next week.
Well, we'll recap your trip to Mississippi in just a moment. But
Yeah.
next Friday night, it's the 9th annual Ultimate Ball Drop,
It's
and the
not
regular
Friday night,
Thursday
though.
night.
It's
That's
Thursday
right.
the 30th. It's a week from.
Yeah, and a week from tonight.
Is
right?
it a week from tonight?
Yeah,
No,
it is. No, it's a week
Ooh,
from
it
tonight.
is.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
Wow.
the regular season of high school football will conclude next week.
That's right.
And we look forward to the Ultimate Ball Drop.
I think it's so cool. That's how Sylacauga's Promise and Margaret Morton, her bunch is safe. That's how we raise some of the funds that we use for our Thanksgiving dinner, which is coming up before you know it too. But the Ultimate Ball Drop is so cool because for $5 you got a really great chance
$5,000,
to
right?
win $5,000, and that's a good little bit of Christmas money right there for a lot of folks.
How do they get their tickets for this now?
They can get them at the we have them at the chamber. You can get them from any one of the Safe's board members. You can go buy Safe on Betsy Ross there, and you can get your tickets. They'll be selling them, I believe, during the first part of the game on that Thursday night, and they're also going to be out at Walmart. I forget. I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, leading up to the ball game. So you can get them if you can't holler at me. We've got some at the chamber, so that's going to work.
Last couple of minutes, let's recap and the purpose of the trip to Mississippi and what happened there.
The purpose of the trip to Mississippi was every year there is an Alabama-Mississippi tourism organization that's been together for many years, and this was the 11th, I believe, conference. I've been to 4 of them, and they alternate years in either Alabama or Mississippi. And this year it was in Greenwood, Mississippi, which is where they filmed the movie The Help.
Right.
And on Monday when we first got there, we got on a big bus, and they took us to the sites where they filmed and different things like that, and it was all a part of that town, you know, as far as what they did and everything. And we got to eat some chocolate pie.
All right.
That wasn't really, it wasn't, you know, the chocolate pie, but it was delicious. But there's one woman, and her name escapes me right this minute, but she did all the cooking for when they shoot a movie. They have a chef, or she was a food critic is what she was, and she did all the food for that movie. Anytime you saw them eating or in a cocktail party or whatever, she did all that food for that movie, and she has a cookbook. I won it. They had a drawing. I won a cookbook and a chocolate pie.
Look at this.
Yeah, so it was a great conference. I think mostly because the speakers that were there.
Well, where's the chocolate pie?
It's in my refrigerator. We had one. It was pretty good.
Okay.
I'll have to bring you a piece.
Is it at the chamber or is it y'all's house?
It's at my house.
It doesn't never get
If
here.
it made it to the chamber, it wouldn't make it past the first couple of hours. But what I wanted to say also is, I don't know if you're aware of it, but Viking Company, Viking Ranges, Viking Stoves, Viking Cooking School, that's in Greenwood. And that is a big boost to their economy, and has been there the founder lives there, and he's from there. So that was so interesting to see all of that too. And it was just, there was a lot of folks from Alabama from Coleman and Athens, and with different festivals and how you can do a festival in a small town. And it was all about rural marketing. And frankly, I think this is the best one I've ever been to. And they also did a whole 2-hour thing yesterday on sports marketing, on building the sports complexes that are in our area. The guy from Auburn was there. And then there's also a huge one in Mississippi that I'm going to make sure I got the guy's card and his name, and I'm going to give that to Jim Armstrong because he needs to take a look at that. And but it was such a refreshing thing to hear them. I mean, we've all been talking about the sports complex and how much money we think it'll bring. Now these guys, I got the numbers. I know what it does for a small town now, and it's remarkable what it can do. So
All right. Well,
it was a great trip. It really was.
We'll be talking about that more later as well, but appreciate you coming by this morning. It was a busy week, but thanks for coming and joining us on Daybreak.
I'm always glad to be here.
All right. More